Hey there, Lumio lovers. Welcome back to another Lumio live stream. We are your hosts. My name is Asha, and I have the lovely Lois and Mish. Say hello, ladies.
Hey there.
Awesome. Today, we are talking about the importance of offering our students choice and giving them the opportunity to present their understanding in multimodal approach. Now, if you would like to join along with us live, you can go to hellosmart.com. And if you join in as a guest and enter in class code 181461, you'll be able to follow along with us live. Well, let me pass it over to Mish. Let's see what we have today.
Thanks, Asha. Hey, everyone. For those of us in the States, happy Thanksgiving week. Are your kids totally bouncing off the walls or what? What's going on in the classroom this week?
Everyone's
So,
excited, I bet.
I know it's like being a teacher the week before a holiday or like the day before a holiday. Those are the days where you're like, you know what, a classroom party all week long, no problem.
Is it a movie day or is it just me?
Yeah, I think so, right? I know some schools now close for all of Thanksgiving break or do parent teacher conferences, and I'm like, you know what? That sounds like the right move. I think we all deserve a little time. But here we go. I wanted to just start with a little would you rather activity because I wanted to pull up two for again any of us in the States, two super controversial foods for Thanksgiving: green bean casserole or ambrosia salad. So, as we think about this week, talking about promoting choice with our students, the game would you rather really great kind of introduction to talking about choice with our students. So it's a good way to kind of encourage decision making skills, fostering personal expression, and kind of building that engagement and critical thinking. And something with as simple as this does do that because it's so fun to hear them get into their discourse of like, well, I think green bean casserole is better because, or it's just fun to kind of hear why they made their decisions.
That's a hard decision, Mish. Which one would you choose?
Oof, I don't know. I think I'm a green bean casserole. I know green beans are super controversial with the kids because if you eat too many, you turn green, is what I hear. Although, coming out of seeing Wicked this weekend, being green is pretty cool.
Okay, no spoilers because I'm
No
going to see
spoilers. You
Wicked
have to go
tomorrow,
see it.
okay?
You got to go see it. So it's super fun little whole class whiteboard here. Again, this is just a really good way to kind of start to introduce choice to our students. Just a simple little game. It can be with different votes in class. It can just be with their interests. A really fun way to get everyone started. I see so many folks are logged into our lesson today. This is so exciting. And it looks like most of us are going for green bean casserole with ambrosia kind of close and behind. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe someone can change my mind about ambrosia salad. Something about it just kind of scares me.
Right? I've never tried it, but it's a lot of taste and texture there. If you made it for me, Asha, I would definitely try it, but I don't think that's something I'm going to venture on my own.
I don't even know if I know the recipe.
I think you can ask the Midwestern mom. It looks like something she would make.
Most definitely.
So, as we're kind of getting into it here, why offering our students choice is so important. The three main points I really want for everyone to think about is it increases engagement, it's helpful with personalized learning, and also, again, just like the would you rather, really starts to help them to start thinking about their critical thinking, which we talked about at our last Lumio Live, and kind of promotes that decision making. This is a very low stakes decision, like which food would you rather eat? And it's such a good starting point to start getting there. So I've got a little science demo lesson here, but maybe with my students, we're sitting in science class and we're getting ready to talk about ecosystems. And just a little pre-test, I've got to shout it out here. I can ask my students, what do you already know about ecosystems? And there is a reason I'm showing this to you and a shout it out. So I'm going to give everyone a second to answer. And then we'll kind of talk about what the difference here is.
And I love that I can answer from my iPad as a student. I can use any device as long as I have access to a web browser, right?
It does make it quite easy for our students to join in. Looks like we do have 5 folks in here. So again, you can join from a laptop, your phone, an iPad like Lois. Or we can also just do this as a whole group in our class if we're just sitting in the front of the room and I've got a projector or a front of room interactive display. So it looks like a few of you are answering, looks like food chain, different animals live in different ecosystems. So we've got some different ideas, but we're talking about kind of giving our students a multimodal approach to their learning, right? We really want to focus in on, is our learning that we're doing accessible, and is it real, not only accessible, but is it really giving our students the authentic ability to showcase their understanding when we're giving them a very closed way of showing us their understanding. So this is a shout it out, which is a fantastic way for students to be able to feel comfortable sharing their responses, give them a moment to kind of document their thinking digitally without having to raise their hand. But I want to challenge you. I'm going to change this to the next slide here. My question remains the same. What do you know about ecosystems? And all I did here was I just grabbed a graphic organizer, but now I'm thinking about my full student body. Now you can type your response, draw, you can use the audio feature if you need to record yourself, or maybe I want my students to just grab a piece of paper, write down their response, and they can upload a picture and share it as a whole class. So from here, I can either convert this into an individual handout or a whole class whiteboard. I think just so we can see everyone's responses, I'll do a whole class whiteboard for today. But again, let's think about this here as being the same exact question as I shouted out. What do you know about ecosystems? But now I'm providing support to my diverse learners, and I'm giving all of my students, diverse English language learner or not, just a better ability to demonstrate their understanding using their interest or their skill set.
Well, and I love, Mish, that when you're showing or explaining what you're wanting from your students, that there are no tools that students can use until you actually convert the activity, right? And then once you do convert it, you have all these amazing tools on the left-hand side that you can use to do that. I'm going to attempt drawing, but please don't judge me.
No judgment over here. Drawing isn't even something that I can do on paper and pencil, and look at you going over there. But yeah, I think, right, when we're thinking about multimodal communication and giving them different opportunities, it becomes such a more authentic experience for our students to express their comprehension or their understanding of a topic. And it also just gives them some, a creative way to approach it, which makes it more interesting for them. If we're always only asking them to write or to type, that doesn't sound as fun for them. So it's just a really great way for them to pick something that might not only be in their skill set, but is just more fun for them, a great way for them to express themselves. So it looks like I've got a few of you typing. Different animals live in different ecosystems, rainforest. Looks like some of you are bringing in images or drawings. And you could also come right over into the gallery on the left where you've got that little icon with the heart and the plus sign. And you can click on the little microphone and also record yourself. So just so many different ways to ask the same question and think about the total child that we have in front of us. And this was kind of like a pretest, right? Like in the beginning of my lesson, what do you know about ecosystems? And I'm going to just go to the next page, Lois. I'm sorry if you're not totally done with your drawing.
I actually was adding some audio. So now we have audio too.
Look at that. So many different ways, right? I'm going to go over to the next part. So we had our little pre-test. Now we're going to fast forward. We had our whole lesson. We had our whole unit. And now we're getting ready for that final evaluation. I want to give my students some choice because not only am I giving them a multimodal approach, but I'm also, again, I really want to encourage that there's so many different ways for them to show me that they understood and comprehended what an ecosystem might be. But I want to give them different ways to do it, give them autonomy over their work, give them just kind of raise that motivation because there's so many different ways. So all I did was I grabbed one of our pre-made activities here called Flip Out, and I gave them 5 different choices of how they can now go ahead, follow directions, pick one that might sound interesting to them, and demonstrate their learning. So they can do a drawing or illustration. You can flip it over. You can see the directions on the back of each of these. So again, lots of the same type of question here, but they can answer it in so many different ways.
I absolutely love the fact that we're giving the students the choice to pick how they want to answer these questions. And it also gives them confidence too. I wish I had this experience in the classroom. It's amazing.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going at. It really builds their confidence because they're really building their understanding. I remember myself as a student, if you put me in a class and you told me that I only had to type or just to write an essay, writing essays wasn't my strong suit, but I knew that I understood the content, but it was so hard for me to just to be able to type a few paragraphs out to explain it. But if you asked me to do more of a project-based learning or more of like a verbal presentation,
Mhm.
I know I could have done a better job because writing a paper just wasn't my strong suit, but I knew that I understood what we learned. So it builds their confidence, it promotes creativity, supports differentiation, and encourages engagement because you really can then start to group the students. I think, Lois, we were talking about this yesterday about kind of grouping them up into their interests. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, it's funny listening to you how you would have preferred to be able to speak or something like that. I think, in school as a young Lois, I would have thrown up if I had to speak in front of people. So I know that's hard to believe now, but I would have really liked to be in a group with you, Mish, because you could do the talking while I'm doing the typing, right? Um, and we could have Asha doing the artwork, and everybody has their strengths. But what I really love about the choice is that helps us as educators also create better groups that have students with stronger skills. So Misha is definitely going to be the leader of a group and be the speaker for that group, right? I would probably be the typer. What would you be, Asha?
I would totally exercise my creative muscles. So whether it's drawing, even though I'm not an artist, but to express myself and have that opportunity, I would totally. Young Asha would have been drawing, making a scrapbook or something.
I love that. And, that just goes to show because I think building confidence speaking happens when you are around people who are confident speaking, right? And getting that practice and everybody being able to show their strong suits. So you're absolutely right, Nisha. I think it's a really great way to do that.
I love that. Thanks for your insights, ladies. So, as we're closing out the month again, it's almost the end of November here. For those of us in the States, it's already Thanksgiving. We're closing out for the week. We just want to remind you of our Lumio challenge as we close out with critical thinking that we kind of talked about last Lumio Live, and feeding into this one is giving our students different ways to think critically and share their ideas. So, you've got just a few days left to participate in our November Lumio challenge. It's so simple. All you have to do is take a picture or a screenshot of your Lumio file, or take a picture of it in action. Just blur your students' faces, share it on social media, any platform will do, and tag at Lumio Social, and then use the hashtags Lumio Challenge and hashtag Go Lumio, and we'll announce winners next week. So thanks, y'all. Passing it back over to Asha.
Thank you. This lesson was tea. I loved it. Anyways, for those that would love to dive a little deeper into learning about Lumio, you can register for future webinars if you go to go.smarttech.com/golumio. And you'll also see our previous recordings there as well. And thanks again for joining us. And happy Thanksgiving to all of my folks down south in the US. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving weekend.